I am the tax man, and this is IRS Radio Hour on AM560 The Answer. Here with Jim Leahy, Deborah Shriner, and we're going to talk about stuff.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where Attorney Steven Leahy gives us his infinite wisdom on all things taxes.
Okay, so I get a lot of people from mortgage brokers because people go try to get a loan, maybe refinance their home, something like that, and then they go to get a mortgage and they find things on their credit report that says you can't get a mortgage, like tax liens, like back judgments, things like that. If you have, and so sometimes they'll call me, and I had a call this last week. I'm trying to improve my credit score, but I really don't want to file bankruptcy because that'll hurt my credit score, won't it? And the answer is, some kind of counterintuitively, sometimes filing for protection under the bankruptcy laws can be the fastest way to recover and make your credit score improve. Well, how can that be? Doesn't bankruptcy hurt your credit score? Well, the answer is yeah, it does. But what if my credit score already stinks? And it's not, and it can't really get much worse. So then what can happen? Well, if I don't file bankruptcy, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to clear up those judgments. And that means if I have a judgment against me for $7,000. So, in this instance that I'm talking about, she had a repossessed vehicle, and the deficiency was $9,000. And she really didn't owe a lot of money, but in addition to that $9,000, but to pay that $9,000 back, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a couple of years, maybe more, for her to pay that. And by the time. So she has to do that before she can start having an approved credit score, because it's showing up as a negative until it's paid. It's going to show up as a negative on your credit score. Well, what if I went ahead and I filed for protection under the bankruptcy laws and I discharged that debt? Well, now I don't owe that $9,000. And yes, it will appear on my credit score, but I can rebuild my credit score now. Now I can start rebuilding my credit score because I don't owe anybody. And in those 2 years or 3 years that it might take for me to even repay back that one loan, not even including these other loans that I have or these other bad marks on my credit score, now in 2 years or 3 years, my credit score, I've seen people after 2 years or 3 years out of bankruptcy in the high 700s, 800s in their credit score. So now I've rebuilt my credit score, and one of the main tools that I used in order to build my credit score was bankruptcy. And so again, it's kind of counterintuitive about the way this works. Yes, you have to be out of bankruptcy as a period of time before you can get a loan. But before you ain't going to get a loan if you have an outstanding judgment. You have these bad marks on your credit score, and the only way to correct your credit score is to pay off those debts, and that's going to take some time.
That makes sense.
That's going to take some time.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a long process.
Yes, and so again, that's why sometimes bankruptcy can be a shortcut to a way to improve your credit score. Again, counterintuitive, what most people don't think of, because they always think, well, it won't, because you do hear it does. It's true. Bankruptcy hurts your credit score, unless it's already so bad that it can't be hurt anymore.
That's right.
And that's usually the case with most people who are filing bankruptcy. Now, it's true that I've had people who have very high credit scores who have been kind of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and they've made it, and they've always made all their payments, and their credit score is great, but they're just creating it's all false, because they're borrowing money to pay. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, okay? And the Ponzi scheme has gotten them a high credit score, but they can't keep doing this because they can't keep making all these payments. And the only way to get out of that then is to file bankruptcy. And if you file bankruptcy in that kind of situation, yes, your credit score is going to tumble. And it's going to, but in that kind of situation I just described, eventually it's going to tumble anyway, because you're going to start missing payments, because you're going to reach your credit limits. You're not going to be able to borrow to pay the minimums on these things anymore.
Exactly.
And it's just spiraling down to
spiraling.
It's a spiral down.
Spiraling. You know what? That's why it's great too, because you're really connected with individuals that can help repair your credit score.
That's right, Gary Novell. Yes,
that's right. In fact, I have a gentleman that has that's looking to buy a home. He has some he's had some prior trouble in regards to, in regards to his credit score. And I actually said, give this Gary Novell a call. It's a great tool.
I hope you gave him your name and told him to drop your name there, because Gary's a friend of mine.
Yeah, that's right.
And Gary helps people. And, when I also work with David Hochberg. And David, if you're looking to buy a home and you're having some credit problems, you go see Gary Novell. He helps you improve your credit score. And
That's
David
right.
Hochberg will credit his fees back to you. So Gary's services will be free to you. And that's a big bonus.
That's a
bonus.
service that you can't get
That's
with
a big
anybody
bonus,
else,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm plugging here David Hochberg and Gary Novell, and I don't have their names.
I actually
handy,
go through Team Hochberg
I know
when
you.
when I have people looking to. I've had a few clients go through there, and I'm going to tell you what, they've been nothing but happy because Team Hochberg really treats people well.
I agree.
Treats them properly, and they're utmost professionals. So
I agree with that.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope. You're
Anyway, I
enjoying the
hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Noel. Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope you're enjoying the show. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649 to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub. They'll fight the IRS. Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Who's going to wrap this show up IRS Radio Hour style? The only way we know how to, and that's to smack it right out of the park. Throw a Hail Mary or get a goal. Anyway, whatever you like, that's what's coming. Here on AM560 The Answer.